I hope that includes more than just charity. Charitable activities, working at soup kitchens, very important for people in need, but that's addressing symptoms. There's a distinction between charity and justice. Justice deals with causes. It deals with prevention. And in discussing what kind of career you want to pursue or what kind of work you want to do in your spare time, it's always important to distinguish whether you're going to work on charity or justice. Far more people work on charity, and doesn't seem to be any end to the need. And far fewer people work on justice. In a rich country like ours, we should not have 15 million children going to sleep hungry every night, or the rampant hunger that's increasing all over the country. There'll never be enough soup kitchens for that. We have to deal with prevention, reorder power in this country so that the few do not have so much power over the many. When I was your age, I lost a lot of friends in traffic crashes. It was a common occurrence, a crash, an injury, a death. The fatality rate was 5 times higher than it is today. We've made great progress with better highways, safer cars, cracking down on drunk driving, but the big factor was seatbelts and other long overdue features in your car that you now take for granted, but which we had to fight the auto industry device by device, whether it was padded dash panels, collapsing steering columns, better brakes, better handling, better tires, head restraints, seat belts, airbags, breakaway rear view mirror. Every one of these had to be wrung out of a stubborn executive core at the heads of General Motors, Ford, Chrysler in the 60s and early 70s. One would think they would want to go down in history as being remembered for saving lives and preventing injuries. It was the first cause of death in your age group, death on the highway. But they had other priorities, very narrow, parochial, materialistic, profit priorities that made sure that all the scientists and engineers they had in their company were not working on important matters like pollution control, crash safety, and other features of the motor vehicle that have taken so long to improve. They were working, and a lot of others were working on style and horsepower. It was style and horsepower. Well, I began looking into this, and I was quite astonished at what I found, namely that the engineers in these companies knew how to build cars, that it wasn't expensive, that it was quickly amortized, and indeed, they saved a lot of their customers when they had safer cars from death and injury. And that got me angry. That's why I first learned that there were a lot of people in and outside the auto companies who knew what needed to be done. They knew. There was no secret, especially with things like seatbelts. The first seatbelts were used in World War I planes to keep the pilots from falling out of the planes. There's no secret. But what a lot of them didn't have was fire in their belly. They didn't have emotional intelligence. You can know all about an injustice in your brain, but if you don't have emotional intelligence, if you don't have fire in your belly to do something about it, it's not going to be applied. And that's what I think a 14th century Chinese philosopher meant when he gave us that wonderful dicta, which when you hear it, you'll never forget. And what he said was, to know and not to do is not to know. To know and not to do is not to know. And if you look back in American history, a lot of people knew what Rosa Parks knew. A lot of people knew what the organizers of the United Auto Workers knew. A lot of people knew about migrant workers. A lot of people knew about denying women the right to vote. A lot of people knew about slavery. A lot of people knew about the horrendous deaths in these dangerous factories in the early Industrial Revolution. But only a few had fire in their belly to change their daily routine